All right, Janet, if you can just share with us your story here from down in Hastings, your experience with the e-bike incident, and we'd just love to hear what happened, and then also your story beyond that in your pursuit to try to make sure we resolve the issues that you faced.
Sure. So a recap of what happened was last August 12th, 2024, I went out for a walk, and I remember, last thing I remember is leaving my home. I turned on my Apple Watch to track my steps and went out for a walk. As I left our neighborhood area, went over on Pleasant Avenue and here in Hastings, and then down to 15th Street, and which is all on sidewalks. So when I was walking on 15th Street towards General Stephen on the sidewalk, I have no memory of any of this, but I was hit from behind by a minor operating an e-bike at approximately 25 miles an hour is what I understood. So my Apple Watch detected the crash, and it actually sent the call to 911. It was near a home, and the family that was in the home, they were getting ready to go outside on the swing set, have a campfire, and they were getting things together in the home, and they heard it. And he thought somebody hit his car. That's how loud it was from inside the house. So he, came out the back door of his deck area and saw this young boy coming into his yard area and saw me laying on the sidewalk. So he came out, his wife came out. Unfortunately, they have a young family. They came out too and saw what happened or what was going on. His wife got on with 911, not realizing that they had already been dispatched to the scene. But he came over. It was so grateful for his help. But he came over to see if there was anything he could do for me until the paramedics arrived. He didn't think I was going to make it. I was not moving, and he got down next to me, and all of a sudden I did gasp. And so he stayed with me till the paramedics arrived, was talking to me. Again, I don't have any recollection of any of this, no memory. Paramedics arrived and assessed the situation, and a lot of blood was coming out. Unfortunately, this young family saw all this and were traumatized by the event. But anyway, they took me to Regions Hospital. The paramedics did, to the trauma center. The police that were on scene went to my home and talked to my husband, who had the kids on the phone, and they went to Regions as well. By the time they got there, which didn't take them very long to get to St. Paul, I was already taken into emergency brain surgery. I had bleeding on the brain. My eardrum was broken. I had orbital root fractures in the face. Just a lot of things going on, but the biggest thing was the brain bleed. Subdural hematoma is what it's called. Anyway, craniotomy was performed, and when my family came, they were met by the surgery team and said, she's in traumatic surgery. We don't know that she's going to make it. And after an agonizing 3-hour wait, I came out. Wow. So it was a long surgery. Mm-hmm. A lot was going on there, and I was taken into intensive care. They put me on a ventilator. I was on the ventilator for a couple days, non-responsive, and my family was told, we have no idea what this is going to look like when she comes off. We don't know if she's going to be the same person. We don't know if she's going to be able to communicate. We just have no idea what's going to happen. So through all that, I came out of it. From intensive care, I was taken to the trauma center, and then from there I was taken to the rehab area of the hospital. I was in the hospital for basically 3 weeks. Mm. Through that time, I probably don't have much memory of my stay there other than the last 5 days. And I was being seen by therapists for speech, occupational, coming off the accident because of the facial fracture. I had double vision, and I was in had a lot of head pain. So came home from the hospital and, was being seen through physical and occupational therapy for a fair amount of time, probably from September through February, significant amount of time, was followed by the neuro team and had several appointments with them. Wasn't able to drive during that time. But, through all that, the neuro team at Regions was phenomenal. And, I'm here today, a little bit past a year later. I would say a traumatic brain injury, it's really not just an event. It's the start of a lifelong medical event with ongoing care. So I have permanent brain damage. I will never smell or taste again. I was told, you basically have 1 year for recovery. So I'm past that now, just a bit, and I have no sense of smell or taste. My ear has not stopped ringing, and that probably won't subside as well. Other things that are going on is an open orbital roof fracture. So the fracture around my eye that holds your socket in is open. And also have where the craniotomy was performed, I have some soft spots in my skull. So there's been some bone resorption that has taken place. Hopefully it stays at the level that it's at, because to fix that, it would require another craniotomy, and I don't think that the risk would just be too great. Mm-hmm. So that's a long story short, but I would say, going out for a walk on a sidewalk in your neighborhood basically should not be a near-death experience. Mm-hmm. So since then, I would say, the city of Hastings has been very engaged, and I was invited to a city council meeting where they presented to the city council to have ordinance in place for e-bikes. That got passed. That was March, April timeframe of this year. So, that's good. It's more around communication around the state law of you have to be over 15 to operate an e-bike. Mm-hmm. And then different rules on where you can operate the e-bike. It's not allowed on sidewalks here in Hastings. And then just other things.
So if you could tell me a little bit more about your experience beyond the recovery and your journey to try to move forward with laws in Minnesota that will protect other individuals from something like this happening to them.
Right. So it'd be really about education around who can and the age limit, but it's really around lack of ownership responsibility, people who own these bikes taking accountability for operating one. And that's really where I feel like, as from our state perspective, we really have a gap. There is no protection. So from a insurance perspective, this was a Class 3 e-bike. So there is no law in terms of ensuring that the Class 3 e-bike is insured to protect the operator themselves, and then if somebody gets hit by an e-bike, such as my situation. I will say that when I was, as I've been seeing the neurologists at Regions, they have all said the number of e-bike accidents coming through our emergency room is significant. And not everybody ends up in a traumatic brain injury requiring a craniotomy, but the number of accidents is prevalent. So I would say, for me, I'm financially, it's all been run through my health insurance, and then whatever my health insurance hasn't covered, which has been a lot because of, just regular deductibles and things like that, I'm on my own. Mm-hmm. There is no protection right now.
Well, one thing that it seems like there's a path forward with is addressing the issue of Class 3 e-bikes. Yes. And acknowledging that they're functionally just like a motorcycle. And common sense would tell us that motorcycles shouldn't be freely traveling down the sidewalk where everybody's trying to safely walk. And so ultimately, part of the legislative process is to make sure we bring a bill forward that can pass through committees and pass off the House floor, and will hopefully provide some protection. Not only protection on the front end of putting bigger guardrail and definition around Class 3 e-bikes, but also to classify those in a way that insurance companies will acknowledge that if, God forbid, something like this does happen to another individual, that they can feel secure that the insurance that either they have or that the individual who is the perpetrator of the accident will have some degree of coverage for the victim.
Yeah.
And that hopefully will be some degree of consolation in another circumstance. Is there anything else, any other details that come to mind, or anything else that you'd like to add on the end of really the long road that you've been on for a little over a year now?
Right. I would just add that, that long road continues. A traumatic brain injury is a silent injury. It's one that, people, like I've mentioned, see me out and they think, that she's recovered. I haven't, and I won't. I will continue to see my team of neurologists ongoing. So the ongoing medical expenses will continue with the, I don't want to say risk, but there could be additional surgery intervention that's going to be needed. So, costs, while I'm past the 1 year, the costs in the continuance of, being seen won't end. The risk of never smelling or tasting again, while some of that is a pleasure thing, I enjoy cooking and that sort of thing. It's more around the safety. We've had to totally revamp our home because if something were to happen, I would have no idea. When I walk into places, I have no idea what I'm walking into. So from a health perspective, it's a very big risk.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose a lot of people think that you're fully recovered because you're very strong, you're very courageous. Obviously, you've fought very hard through this process, and it's a testament to both the strength that you have and the perseverance, really, that you have too. So I commend you for that, and certainly appreciate you sharing this.
I appreciate that. It is, just as you say that, it is very emotional. There's just a lot that has taken, there isn't a day that hasn't gone by that I don't wake up and think about this accident. Mm-hmm. I am extremely grateful to be here where I'm at. To a neurologist, when I have walked in to my appointments, I'm often hearing, I can't believe you're sitting here. You must have people praying for you. Most people don't look like you do or are doing what you're doing. So I am moved and I am beyond grateful that I am at the place where I'm at. But I would just say that I really hope that nobody else has to go through what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. And that is a big part of why you and I connected is my objective is to help others and to really understand this story and how severe this injury can be and is. So I am very hopeful that there can be an emphasis on Class 3 e-bikes and that there can be something around them to ensure that people that are operating them should be operating them and that they understand where to operate them. And there's just more education and, and insurance coverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we share two things in common. First, prayer, and second, that we want to help. And that is what I said that I wanted to do. And so I want to follow through on that promise, both to you and everybody else here in Hastings and the surrounding area and the state, really, to make sure that we can safely walk down the sidewalk.
Right.
And that is definitely a great goal to have. Would you want to add anything else? Or
I don't
Okay.
really have anything
All right.
else. Thank you, though.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.